What up, y'all? Tis I, your humble host, Wheelchair Rick, coming live from the Wheelhouse here on a beautiful Wednesday. Well, it's probably beautiful everywhere else. Here it's real cold in Michigan. It's like 20-something degrees out. It was just 70. I don't know what happened. But here we are. We're going to make the most of it. Today, we have another special guest coming to us all the way from New York. We're going to talk to her, get to that stuff, learn her story. Just a second, but before we do that, let's run the intro. Welcome to Wheelchair Wednesday. All right, y'all, let's welcome Annie Luna. What is going on, miss?
Hey.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Pretty good. Good to see you. Thanks for coming on.
Yeah, no problem.
You know, these are kind of quick little shows, but I think it's, you know, I tell everybody, in the long run, I hope it helps somebody, and that's why we're here. Hope we can have a good time.
Exactly.
I asked you a couple questions. You said you've already seen the show, so you already know how it works.
Right.
So what we're going to do is, I'm going to ask you 10 questions about life in a wheelchair. Just give me your answers however you see fit, and we'll go from there.
All right, let's do it.
First and most important question is how did it happen and like your level of injury. You can obviously say where you're from, introduce who you are, where you're from, and then how your injury happened, and go from there.
All right, so my name's Annie. My injury actually happened 2 years ago now, February 8th. So actually it was a car accident, and what happened was I was driving, and it was a snowy day, snowy February, like we always get hit with a bunch of snow up here in New York.
Mm-hmm.
And as I was driving, my car actually slid on some ice, and I went from the going to the coming lane. My car flipped about 4 or 5 times, and stupid me, silly me, didn't have a seatbelt on, so I ended up waking up in the back seat of my car.
Wow.
And I was paralyzed. I
Well,
actually had a couple injuries that I sustained. I had a laceration to my head from one side to the other that required about 20 stitches. I had hemothorax, pneumothorax, which is a collapsed right lung. I had 16 fractured ribs, and I had some bleeding in my chest cavity as well.
wow.
So,
That's an awful
yep.
lot.
It is.
But you pulled through. How long were you in the hospital for?
So actually, I was initially in the hospital for 3 months.
And
So
then that's in and
the
out,
first
so
2
from the
weeks I spent
accident,
in
okay.
ICU, and then I spent the rest of it in rehab. Before I got to come home, I spent some time in some intensive therapy.
All right. How long ago was that?
2 years ago now.
2 years ago. So you're fairly new, kind of, to the
Really
SCI
new.
life. Well, let me ask you this. I mean, you being so new to it, it's probably a simple answer for you, but would you walk if you could? Which means, would you go back and change it all and live that different life, or would you stay where you're at now?
That's a tough question. You know, part of me knows that I wouldn't be the person that I am today if I didn't go through what I went through.
Mm-hmm.
And then another part of me, you know, would definitely love to walk. So if I could walk again and take the knowledge I have with me now that I have, I definitely would.
Right. That's the tricky thing. You know what I mean? Like, that's why I asked that question, because, like, even me, you know, I feel like I'm kind of new, too. I've only been in it for 4 years, but even on year number 2, I was like, nah, like, I'm supposed to be the person I am here. You know what I mean? Like,
Exactly.
and if I had to go back and give this up, I don't think I would. I think I would stay with the pain every day and just deal with it. You know what I mean? Because I am who I am, and we are where we are because of who knows why, but we're here. You know what I
I
mean?
feel that things happen for a reason.
Right, exactly. Next question is dating/married.
I am currently dating somebody. We've been together for almost about the whole entire 2 years, about a year and a half.
Was that after you got injured you met him, or?
Yes, it was after I got injured. So I was married when I got injured, and I got divorced shortly after, probably about 4 months later. And
Wow.
then yeah, and then About 3 months later, it was already on the rocks though. So I
Oh, I
mean,
was gonna
we're
say, was
divorced.
that
It was
because
coming.
of the thing or because of the accident or?
It definitely played a part. I don't want to say like it was because of my injury or he left me because of my injury, abandoned me. You know, like that's a stereotype that floats around.
Right.
But it was definitely it played a part, and it played a part because it changed me as a person being in a wheelchair. And I went through a lot of trauma, and I'm not the same person I was. And obviously, I've done a lot of healing, but it changed me to my core. I'm not the same person I was before when we got married. So, it just caused us to drift away. We're not the same people anymore.
Right. Understandable. I know a lot of people go through that. We've talked to on this show, and so I mean that's kind of a big thing in life. If you're with somebody and then all of a sudden the injury kind of throws a big wrench in the situation. You know what I mean? Some people can
Exactly.
withstand it out. Other people, it's a different story. Um. But you guys are doing good though. You guys are doing good.
Yeah,
Been
we're
known him
good.
for about a year and a half. That's nice. So he
Yep.
doesn't mind. Does he help out at all, or
Oh, yeah, definitely. He's a big help.
he don't mind at all doing anything?
No, he doesn't. He loves it. He loves that caretaking aspect of it.
No, that's good. That's awesome. What about pet peeves? What's your biggest pet peeve about being paralyzed?
Uh, this one's kind of personal, because it doesn't really apply to everybody, and I don't know if everybody gets it, but I get a lot of comments like, "You're really pretty to be in a wheelchair. You're too pretty to be in a wheelchair," you know? And it's
Right.
like it's not restricted only to ugly people, you know?
Absolutely.
I also really hate like the stereotypical one of being pushed in your chair when
Yeah.
people don't ask.
Everybody always goes to that one too. It's always like grabbing the handles and pushing me around.
Yep. I mean, I don't mind the help, but like only if I ask, you know?
Right. For sure. For sure. Um, I was gonna say, only being so new to it though, only a couple years, you're gonna find more pet peeves, I'm sure, going down the line. Like, I mean, I know just because I did. I'm like, you're gonna see something, and you're like, you know what? I didn't think about that, but that sucks and that's dumb, and I can't do that.
Definitely.
Um, what about something that you wish you could do that you can no longer do?
It's gonna sound crazy to people, but driving. I actually really miss the freedom of driving.
Now, you're a T6, T7. I'm a T3, T4. I actually went and learned through a place to do it, and they take you in a van and they show you how to do it,
Yeah.
and is that something that you want to do?
Yeah, definitely. It's something I want to do in my future. Hopefully I'll get there.
Yeah, yeah, I definitely recommend following that. You know what I mean? Like trying
Is
it
that
out.
something you're doing too?
I mean, so here's the thing. Like now, I actually drive. I have a van. Luckily, I mean, when I got injured here in Michigan, I had full coverage auto insurance. So the state of Michigan, when you get injured when you have full coverage, they pay for everything. So I got
That's
lucky
awesome.
enough where they helped, pay for the classes to go do it. They paid for the van. Well, not all of it. I had to pay some, but yeah, I drive now. Not every day, but I mean, it's there, and I can go wherever I want, whenever I want. And the freedom, like when you get back on the road, it's just there's no other feeling like it. Like it almost makes you feel like you're normal again. You know what I mean? Because you can go check stuff out,
Right.
say hi to everybody. I don't know how many people like look at it and they're like, I didn't even know your wheelchair was in there because my wheelchair clicks into it because I'm in
Right.
a power chair. So I mean, there's all kinds of different ways to do it. And even without a power wheelchair, you can still do it in any vehicle just with the same hand controls. It's definitely doable. You don't even really need to go to any classes. You can just buy the hand controls, jump in a car, and do it. But I highly recommend the classes. Keep that in mind.
Definitely I'm gonna do the classes and do it the right way.
For sure. What about pain? What's your pain level like?
On a regular day, I'd say it's about maybe like 4, 5. On really bad days though I can get to a 10, 11. But I'm actually on methadone right now for pain.
Hmm.
I've tried a couple things for pain. I've been on like Dilaudid. I've been on Suboxone. It's like a big
I've
everyone
heard
thinks that
about
it's
that.
just for treating opioid addictions and just for withdrawals, but it's actually for pain too.
Right. Whereabouts is your pain at? Right about like where your injury is, or?
Yep.
Yeah. See, that's like mine. And the one thing I noticed was it's like a burning. And when I woke up in the hospital, I'm like, is that gonna stop hurting? And they're like, probably not. And I was just like, oh,
Yeah.
it gets a little
Isn't it
better.
terrible?
Yeah, it gets a little better, but like you said, it's some days it's like, how much can you take? You know what I mean?
Right.
Um, So yeah, I definitely like I want to get going into doing like the needle stuff now. They were talking about the acupuncture. I've never did it. I'm so scared of needles, even though I got like tattoos and
So
stuff.
my.
But it's like I don't know. I feel like there's other options that we should probably explore. Everybody being, you know what I mean? Like if you have pain, instead of just taking the medications, try other things like more natural things and see if they work. Um,
I'm for it.
that's what I'm trying to do this year. Is I'm getting into other things besides pharmaceutical stuff.
Right.
What helped you the most after your injury?
What helped me the most after my injury? Um, I would definitely say it was the support of my mom and my brothers, my sister as well. Without them, I probably wouldn't have pulled through. Cause when you go through your injury, like a lot of people don't realize, but you go through a grieving process.
Right.
You grieve the loss of your legs, of your freedom, of your past life, and you really go through the stages. You go through the anger, the denial, the bargaining, and the depression. And I definitely couldn't have pulled through if it wasn't for the support of my family.
Absolutely. Couldn't have said it any better. I mean, it really is like you're losing your old self, and you got to just accept it, say goodbye, and say hello to your new self in the new world. It's
Yeah,
hard
you
worry
gotta get
about
to
it.
the acceptance.
I like your attitude about it, though. That's great.
Thank you.
That's half the battle right there.
It is.
Um, yeah, and I think even the people that don't have family, it's something. It's you got to find something to look forward to, something to kind of like, you know what I mean, gravitate towards, because man, it gets rough. You just got to have somebody, some
It
friend.
sure does.
And if you don't have anybody and you're looking for somebody, shout out to SCI Life. That's on Facebook. My buddy Ricky Marcato. Whoop whoop. Yeah,
Yes.
I'll give him one of these.
It's a great group.
You can't hear it, but I just hit the nice horn for him. What about hobbies before and after? Like, what'd you do
So,
before? Did you do the same thing now, or did it switch up a little bit?
so before, it was really different actually. I used to do a lot of like stuff like skateboarding, snowboarding, like skiing, painting, drawing. That stayed the same. But obviously, I can't do some other stuff like skateboarding and snowboarding and stuff like that. But yeah, it comes with it.
Right. I see you got a nice, colorful, light up microphone. Are you some kind of like gamer or something?
This is my boyfriend's setup. Actually, he is.
Nice. Heck yeah. Shout out boyfriend gamer guy. So what other things have you thought about? Like, have you ever thought about doing like something different? Like, because you're in a wheelchair now, something that you haven't done. You're like, man, I want to try something new. You know what I mean? Anything like that?
No, I haven't actually. Nothing really that triggers my interest.
Right. Fair game. Fair enough. I started bowling. I tried it out. I thought it was pretty fun, but you just got to go. It's the getting up and actually going that's the problem. I'm more of a homebody now. I just like to sit at home.
Right.
And yeah, play games. Like I said, I'm a gamer myself. That's my hobbies. What about travel? What do you think about traveling?
Traveling. Oh, I'd love to do it more, but it's so rough actually for me. So I've taken a couple of trips, like, I've been to Montauk like for a weekend and stuff, and I've tried it out. It was like, but it was fairly recent after my accident. So, and it was rough, man. Like you're not sleeping in your own bed, and
Oh, I hate
it's
that.
different when you're in a wheelchair to not sleeping in your own bed.
Right.
Like whenever anyone travels, everyone usually, well, not everyone, but some people, they have trouble sleeping because they're not in their own bed. It hits different when you're in a wheelchair. Um,
Yeah, the spinal
there's a
cord
lot of
injury
pain that comes
aspect
with
of
it.
it. Right. It's not the same support that you're used to. That's like, you know what I mean? Because I think you probably are talking about like our beds are firm. They're like memory. They're kind of like
Exactly.
so you don't get pressure sores and stuff. And the hotel beds are not. They're more like
Yeah, they're not built for us.
right.
So it was rough. And then beaches. I went to the beach. They're not handicap accessible. The beach I didn't go. The beach that I went to wasn't, at least. I know there's a couple, which is something that I definitely want to do. I'd love to travel more. I want to give it another shot.
Yeah, I know a lot of beaches, especially where I live at, in the state of Michigan, are now adapting to like track chairs. So like adaptive wheelchairs that can go out on the sand and back up, and
Yeah, I've seen them.
all kinds of like traveling parks. That's what I would do if I was you. If you want to go travel, find places that are adaptable for you. You know what I mean? Ahead of time, so you can
Definitely.
show up and be like, "This is what we're doing. I already know it. I checked out the brochure, or whatever online." And listen to me talk. I haven't even done that yet, but I do want to get out. I want to go check out some more stuff, like maybe hiking or something would be fun. I don't know. Like I said, I spend too much time at home, especially when summer hits. I'm getting out of here.
I feel that.
Oh, I didn't ask you this. What? A lot of people say they don't on this question, but do you have a name for your wheelchair? Like, do you ever name your wheelchair? Give it a personality?
No, I didn't actually. Do you have one?
Yeah, actually, my first wheelchair I got was my manual chair, and it's got like blue handles and a blue back and blue accents, so I just called it Old Blue. And then
Oh, I like that.
this wheelchair that I have now, you can't see it, but it's a power chair. It's a Permobile F3 that I've named Johnny 5 in reference to, I don't know if it's an old movie called Short Circuit. It's an old robot comes to life. So I was like, that's cool. So I got a license plate for it, put a bunch of lights on it. It's pretty fun.
That's awesome. That's dope. I want to customize mine.
Yeah, definitely. And I would say, all it takes is a couple LED lights with a battery pack, and you can actually get a speaker, put it on the back with a Bluetooth. Boom, there you go. Your life of the party. My last question that I have for you is, what would be the best piece of advice that you could give to somebody who is newly injured?
I think the best piece of advice that I could offer is get a routine. You need to stick to your routine. Like, it sounds kind of dumb and kind of simple, but like I said, when you're going through the grieving process, like of losing your legs and losing your freedom and dealing with a new injury, you're going to go through all these emotions, and sticking to a routine will really just help you. It'll give you some stability, some grounding. Like when you're feeling depressed, when you're feeling angry, when you're feeling frustrated, just get up and go through your routine, and you'll see that your mind you'll take your mind off all that kind of stuff. But yeah, that's my biggest piece of advice that I would give.
Nice. I like it. Let's give her a round of applause. Well, thanks, Annie, for coming around and hanging out with us
Yeah, no
and
problem.
answering our 10 questions on a Wednesday afternoon. Before we leave, we just got to let everybody know that we will be putting all of her links, if she's got anything she wants to share, on the description after this whole thing. So come back and check that out. And then as far as that goes, is there anything else you'd like to say?
Nope, I'm all set.
All right, guys. Well, if you would like to be on an episode of Wheelchair Wednesday, shoot me a message. Send me a link. Hit the email. Find me on STI Life, Facebook, YouTube, Kick. I don't know. There's all kinds of things we're on. Millions of stuff. Check it out. But until next time, appreciate y'all for watching and listening. This is Wheelchair Wednesday. Peace.